And if you look over at that screen over there, you'll see our Twitter handle, MitaTechTalks, or you can use #MitaTech and tweet live about the event. We also are broadcasting across the United States in English and through Televisa in Spanish. And so there will be a lot of virtual participation and in interaction from the web. So my name is Robin Reyes. I'm one of the founders of the Mita Institute and the MitaTechTalks. Before we start today, I want to say a special thank you to all of our supporters, friends, and our sponsors. Rally.org, our global sponsor, Endeavor Mexico, our conference sponsor, Televisa, Cinépolis, Crowdfunder, the Secretaría de Economía, and NAFIN, Guaira Mexico, Four Seasons, where we are at this beautiful resort, and the St. Regis Resort, Punta Mita. Also, Pacific Boutique Properties, Baker McKenzie, Palmasola, and of course, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology through the MIT Mexico program, Stanford Tech Ventures program, Tec de Monterrey, and especially ITAM, with the lady who couldn't make it with us here today, but Daniela Ruiz-Massieu, for all her help in connecting us with leaders across Mexico. We also want to mention Guanazas Tequila, the Latin American Venture Capital Association that's here with us today, and DNA. Thank you all. Today is a special day because it's all about you, the entrepreneurs, angel investors, and venture capitalists out there. Over the past few months, Latin America has been responsible for major news headlines regarding opportunities for entrepreneurship and venture capital. This year marked the first year that there was a Mexican pavilion at TechCrunch. Mexico has also gained particular attention as it shows increasing competitive strengths against China. Such positive stories would not be possible without you. You're the principals of Google and a number of other tech companies. I also met a number of Mexican entrepreneurs that were using tech and social media to try to tackle problems in Mexico. Through the explosion of social media across Latin America, entrepreneurs started connecting with their counterparts in the US and the rest of the world. Before long, I myself got the bug and started a company called Móvil Mexico, which launched the first financial literacy program through text messaging that had ever been conducted in Mexico. I went through the process of fundraising with an incredibly supportive and seasoned US angel investor who believed in Mexico and was willing to make a bet on the country, and me as well. Along the way, in that process, we faced many hurdles. Some were the same hurdles that any entrepreneur would face anywhere. Other hurdles were the result of what appeared to be a hostile environment for entrepreneurs. But I believe that if we could get enough people talking about entrepreneurship and provided examples of success stories, that we could really build an entrepreneurial movement across Mexico. Based on that vision, last year, I organized a summit called Emprende tu Mexico, which took place right here in Punta Mita. It just happens that Punta Mita, Mexico, has already been home for a number of leading investors and technology leaders and actors in the tech and venture capital space. I started sending emails of my vision and making phone calls to invite speakers when Karen Richardson, a true Silicon Valley leader, said she'd participate. Not only because she believed in our vision, but because she, like a growing number of Silicon Valley leaders, believed increasingly in Mexico. Not only would Karen participate, but she also got her husband, a true tech icon, John Rubinstein, of course, the lead inventor of the iPod at Apple and former executive at Palm, HP, and now he's at Amazon, to participate. From there, the momentum built. People like Tom Siebel, though he couldn't join us, telecom expert Jerry Kern, Lynne Hoffman, and many others agreed to participate before long. We connected with entrepreneurs from the US who were willing to share their stories with Mexico, and we even got a celebrity to join us, the singer-actor Meatloaf. I quickly learned that tech leaders were really interested in what was taking place in Mexico. From within Mexico, we gained enormous traction and had the full support of the finance ministry. That wasn't enough, though. We wanted to make sure that these ideas were fully available to the public. And so I decided the whole event should be live streamed, and all the content should be made free and accessible to all the entrepreneurs out there. So last year, at Emprende tu Mexico, we had very engaging conversations and established why innovation and entrepreneurship is so important to emerging economies, especially Mexico. After last year's event, these same leaders that participated challenged us to keep the momentum going beyond the conference. So we took a step back to analyze where we might have the greatest impact in the ecosystem. But first, we really had to understand the ecosystem in Mexico, and that's really what we're doing here today. Entrepreneurship is certainly a hot topic, but let's talk about why it's important. First of all, we must recognize that entrepreneurship and venture capital play an important role in stimulating innovation. According to Harvard business professor, he cites a great example, Josh Lerner, a single dollar of venture capital generates as much innovation as $3 of traditional corporate research and development. Innovation is critical to growth. In times of economic recessions, entrepreneurs are economic spark plugs that reignite growth. As a result of our careful analysis, we decided to launch the Mita Institute and Tech Accelerator, which will provide seed capital and much-needed mentorship to talent from Mexico and Latin America. Lynne, one of our co-founders, will share more about that in just a bit. We also decided, though, to continue leveraging our conference as a platform to unite the leaders of the ecosystem and to generate discussion around how to further build out entrepreneurship across Latin America. That's the purpose of what we've decided to call the MitaTechTalks. The journey to get to the MitaTechTalks has been amazing. We've spent time traveling between Mexico, the innovation hubs in the US, certainly Silicon Valley, Austin, Boston. We've chased down policy leaders in Washington, even in the White House, in Los Pinos, and international organizations. What we learned in the process is that the time for Mexico is now. It's not mañana, it's right now. On that note, I'd like to welcome Lynne Bairstow to come up here and share a little bit more, and then we'll get right to it.
Good morning. Thanks, Robin. I think Robin really gave an accurate overview of how we came about, but he said it was careful analysis. I thought it was kind of just a vision we had with it, and then we made the analysis work to fit our vision. And so, because we had an intuitive thought that this is something that needs to happen in Mexico. But what we did discover, and I want to supplement that, is absolutely the time is now. I've never felt that at any moment of any of my professional career that you know that all the things come together and the time is now. With the name, and we had to struggle a little bit, or not struggle, but we looked around what would be an appropriate name for this vision that we had, and we came up with Mita, logically, because it's part of Punta Mita. But the word itself, I love, and we did research, and it comes from a variety, or it's found in a variety of ancient Latin American languages. And my favorite one is the Inca definition of it, which says that every member of the community is required to contribute because that leads to a greater whole community. And that's really what we're all about. What we want to do is not just be an entity of ourselves, but to work to bring everybody in the ecosystem in Mexico and later on Latin America with the innovators that have made such great progress in the United States and Canada. Learn from their lessons, share with them, grow with them, and create the innovation and the entrepreneurship in Mexico and Latin America that we've seen be so successful in the United States and Canada. And so that's our vision. And how we want to achieve that is through a combination of conferences such as this, our Tech Talk series, as well as smaller executive retreats that'll bring together industry leaders in areas such as healthcare, energy, education, transportation logistics, media, along with technology innovators, and say, these are the inefficiencies that are happening in our industry, and how can technology be used to eliminate or reduce those inefficiencies and make it a better way. And we think a venue like we had last night at Palma Sola, where you have the creativity and the ambiance to just have that open mind to be creative, we think a lot of great things will come out of those executive conferences, in addition to the larger retreats such as the Tech Talks. And together with the Tech Talks, what we're looking forward to next year is to combine the Tech Talks with demo days, where we'll have even more representation from our entrepreneurial community to be able to showcase their projects and their companies and their startup visions with our investors and venture capitalists that'll be joining us. So that's the vision of Mita, and I want to conclude that part of it by saying we are a startup. So that's kind of the exciting part of it. As we're talking to entrepreneurs and we're talking to everyone else in the community, we understand that we ourselves are a startup and a new entity here. And I just want to give a shout out to all of the members of the Mexico tech community that have been gracious enough to welcome us with open arms and spend hours talking with us and sharing their knowledge and their experiences with our team, because that's not always something that happens. And so we have other accelerators and incubators in the room, almost every major one in Mexico. We have venture capitalists in Mexico. We have people who have started years ago in planting the seeds of tech innovation and growth in Mexico. And we just want to thank you for being so open and sharing with us. And we hope that we grow this vision together as a community and all work so that the net result is that Mexico really blossoms and Latin America booms in the area of tech innovation, so that our global community will be a better place and a more efficient place. And I just want to thank you once again for being here. We've got an exciting day today, and I can't wait to get started. So with that, I would like to introduce Mike Maples, our keynote speaker from Floodgate. Thank you, Mike.